Hello, thank you for joining us for this third session, third and final info session on the Mass E. This session is concentrating on the essays. So this is a writing workshop, and we will be discussing the personal history statement and the statement of purpose for the Mass E program, which the deadline is on the 11th, February 11th. Thank you for joining us. So here's our agenda. We're going to talk about the values, the value of the statements. It's specifically to personal history statement and common themes, and then we'll get into the statement of purpose, and then we'll close with some overarching points, and we'll leave it open for Q&A at the end. So if you haven't met us before in our previous sessions, I'd like you to meet our student services team. So I'm Janine Bernard. I'm the Associate Director of Student Services. And then we have Mars Rivas, Senior Admissions Officer. And then rounding out our team is Maritzi Perez, Student Affairs Advisor, Affairs and Academic Advisor. So between the three of us, we field questions and make sure students are having a great experience. So you may ask yourself, what is the value of the personal history statement and statement of purpose? These are requirements in the application, and so we'll get into what the value of that is. So first off, personal history statement, we suggest a length of 1,000 words or less. It is important that you be clear, but concise and relevant at the same time. 1,000 words is not that many words to play with, to work with. So you want to be as clear as possible, use the words that you need to that pack a punch so you can be concise, and remember to always come back to the relevant point of your paper. Um, in terms of clarity, don't assume reviewers will make any connections for you in your statement. So if there's if there's something you want to explain that is not really clear in your statement, in your CV or your transcript, you want to make sure that you bring attention to that in your personal history statement or statement of purpose, wherever it makes sense. A quick example would be maybe you had some challenges that reflected in your grades during your bachelor or whatever program you were in. And so, maybe you were taking care of a sick person, sick relative, maybe you were sick, maybe you had to take a break for whatever reason. We want to make sure that you're telling your story with as much clarity as possible so that the reviewer can give a holistic review of your application materials. And so, yes, so in this section, the personal history statement, you can include any relevant information on the following. So, if you have overcome any barriers, how has that been done in your experience? And so, in terms of access to higher education, maybe you are first generation going to college, or maybe you have maybe you need accommodations for a disability, anything like that would be important to include in your personal history statement. And again, this can provide context for any gaps or inconsistency in grades or test scores. So, maybe you're a great learner, but when exam time comes, it's hard for you to put all your knowledge into onto paper. So that's one good explanation, or that's one good thing to explain if that pertains to you. Another thing is how you maybe have come to understand barriers faced by others. So maybe you haven't had a ton of barriers in your way, and that's great. But how have you seen, your friends or colleagues, classmates overcome those barriers for them that has inspired you? And to include also any academic service that you've done to advance equitable access to higher education for women, racial minorities, or individuals from other groups that have been historically underrepresented in academia and higher education. So any, work with kids or work with different underrepresented populations, if that has been your experience, make sure you can include it, make sure to include it. Any research that you've done focusing on underserved populations or related issues of inequality. A lot of, people go and do research in developing countries or developing areas of this country, maybe even, with water crisis in Flint, stuff like that. If that applies to you, make sure to include it. Any leadership you have had among such groups. So were you kind of the lead in the organization or research group? That would be important to include. Basically, allow yourself to reflect and express on key experience that have prepared you or motivated you to pursue graduate school, and graduate school in the field of engineering. Make sure you highlight your passion, maturity, focus, and strong motivation, right? Make sure that kind of comes across. Maximum word count, 1,000 words, and make sure the personal history statement does not duplicate the statement of purpose. So essentially, how you can see personal history statement is a little bit more biographical, a little bit more about your personal kind of journey, where the statement of purpose is separately, and then we'll get into it shortly, like right now. So keep your statement to approximately 1,000 words or less. It's important, if you go to 1,001, that's fine, but remember, people will be reviewing this, and they may have, a dozen applications to review or more. And so you want to make sure it's clear and concise and to the point, so that they read everything thoroughly. And then everything you include in this essay. So, as opposed to the biographical nature of the personal history statement, this statement of purpose should include anything that's directly relevant to becoming a successful student at UC Berkeley in this program, the MASE, the Master of Advanced Study in Engineering. Each statement you make needs to have a purpose. Make sure, you're not just kind of writing without uh, going back to the thesis statement of your overall paper. And then make sure to ask yourself, how does each sentence contribute to your candidacy for admission into the MASE program in the area of concentration on which you are applying to? So, make sure that you're always going back to your whatever thesis statement, but it should be, why I want to come to Berkeley and why I'm a good candidate for this program at Berkeley. Prompt for the statement of purpose, so 1,000 words or less. Your statement of purpose should describe your career goals. Again, very relevant, right, to the career, to the field, to the discipline. Describe your career goals and how this program will help you meet your professional aspirations. Sometimes, like, we find that students kind of are working out in the field, in industry, etc., but then they kind of reach they reach a ceiling where they figure, I think I need to go back to school, either to learn the new technology or to just add to my toolkit of knowledge in the field. One of the things that's coming up is AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Things are changing so rapidly that I think a lot of people are thinking of going back to school to brush up on maybe the foundational aspects of their knowledge, and to be able to utilize the new technologies to make themselves more efficient. And so if you are entering the field, tell us about your engineering interests and the skills you wish to acquire during your program of study. So, some of our students have been in the field for a long time, and then they want to come back for additional training and additional education, and other people are just entering the field but um, have a lot of motivation and a lot of inspiration, and so they want to tackle the world's problems through this program and the training it offers. And then please also describe kind of what I was saying, how you hope or expect to contribute to improving engineering in your future and professional endeavors. So how are you planning to use the skills here in order to, I don't know, make either a specific thing in engineering better or to become, either a better engineer, an engineering leader, or if you have a specific problem that you're trying to, resolve globally, locally, etc. In terms of the prompt, make sure you're explicit in addressing the following. So make sure what in your background, history, training, or experiences, whether personal, professional, or academic, has led you to pursue graduate training and or a career in engineering. So what is it that, piques your interest, that really motivates you, that really inspires you? What are your eventual career goals in the engineering profession? So maybe, either if you've already been in the field or just started in the field, what is the trajectory that you're hoping to that you're hoping your career will take? And hoping, but also planning because you're looking into these programs. Why do you need a master's degree in engineering and why now? So, why this program, right? Why are you applying to this specific degree, program, and area of concentration? What is it that, again, tell us that story. What is it that this set combination of program, campus, concentration, what is it that is, calling to you and would be perfect for your next steps in your career? And yeah, how will you take advantage of the intensive, fast-paced program, and then why UC Berkeley, right? So kind of from the personal to the more umbrella terms of Berkeley program concentration. Um, and then be specific, yeah, about why UC Berkeley and the Mass E program would be a good intellectual fit for you. You may know a lot, but there's also more additional training that this program provides. And so, what is it that you're looking for to gain from said program? Some of the overarching points that apply are okay, 1,000 words or less, broken record, but make sure you're minding that limit. Again, if it's 1,001, that's not too bad, but you can't make it, 1,200 words. It is to your advantage to keep your statement clear and concise and relevant. Again, don't think that the reader's just going to make any connections for you. Be clear, be concise. Try to always go back to the thesis of your statement and check and revise for formatting and spelling. And then also, have a second or third or fourth pair of eyes. Um, take a look over, your essays for you so that you can make sure that there's no little mistakes that can be so easily caught, but once you submit your application, we cannot make any changes. Um, and again, overarching points, any experience or circumstances that have had an impact on your candidacy as an applicant, but not directly related to you pursuing graduate training in engineering should be included in your personal history statement. So more of that biographical component. And then the more an experience is directly related to your goals and your future career goals in engineering, the more appropriate it is for statement of purpose. So statement of purpose is a little bit more down to business, and then personal history statement is more biographical in nature. And that's our quick um, writing workshop. If you have any questions, you can contact us. Our email is mass-e-support@berkeley.edu. You can take a look at our website, mass-e.engineering.berkeley.edu. Please reach out to our team with your questions or feedback on this session. We look forward to connecting with you. And as a reminder, the deadline is February 11th. It is exactly 1 week from when this was recorded on February 4th. So make sure you If you started your application to submit it no later than 8:59 p.m. Pacific time. That's 11:59 Eastern time. And if you are somewhere else in the world, please just make sure you convert your local time to either 8:59 p.m. Pacific time or 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing from you and reviewing your application.